So I have the Del Fuvio brothers with me.
Yes, you do, in the flesh. My original, back in the Dream Theater days, I was Max Del Fuvio, right?
What was I?
Were you just Derek? I think you were just Derek Del
Del Fuvio, yeah.
And I was Max Del Fuvio.
Okay, so the...
Or you were Nicky Lemons.
Nicky Lemons.
He had two alter egos, actually. Anyhow, I digest.
What kind of inspired the name Sons of Apollo?
Mike had a list of 200 names, and we're like going through everything, and then there was some version of the word Apollo in there, and I saw that. I go, wow, that's great. That's really strong. And so we just started throwing around different combinations of variations, and then we came up with Sons of Apollo, and it just kind of stuck, and we liked it. We felt it was strong.
Okay.
Apollo's the god. I didn't know this, but Apollo is the god of music.
God of music, god of the sun, god of healing.
Okay.
Truth.
We were even talking about maybe the Apollo space missions, or Apollo Creed, the boxer.
That's what, honestly, I thought that was a fucking great name, but I think we would have ran into some problems.
Sly Stallone would have brought us down. I have about 100 real band names and then about 100 like fake band names, like Rumpled Foreskin.
I like that. I thought that had a nice twist to it.
So, obviously, the two of you have been in a lot of different bands, solo projects, and this sort of stuff. So, what was kind of like the objective in terms of sound with Sons of Apollo? Did you want to make it sound completely different from anything else you'd ever done?
I think the objective was to come back to the world that we were in together in Dream Theater. I mean, just to be straight up about it, I think it was kind of like, okay, we kind of wanted to do this progressive metal thing in the world of what Dream Theater does, but go, make it all, something new. Mm-hmm. And I think the something new ended up totally taking over what we ended up doing, and we ended up going to a completely different place. I think we've now transcended the progressive metal tag. I think this is really more of a combination of classic rock and metal and prog. It's got a weird combination of all these different things. I think once Bumblefoot and Jeff Scott Soto kind of, started working with us, it went to so many new places. Right?
Yeah, I think Sons of Apollo is redefining the genre with this record because of the vast influences and the way that we mixed it all together. It's just a whole new thing.
Okay. So what made you guys kind of want to have, two very long songs either end of the album?
Well, there's three, actually. There's one right in the middle, too. So there's three kind of 10-minute songs. They kind of just wrote themselves, to be honest. We have histories of long songs and writing long songs. It's something that's very natural to us. Mm-hmm. I knew when Derek presented God of the Sun, I heard it and I was like, that's the album opener. And then when we wrote this massive 10-minute instrumental Opus Maximus, I was like, that's the album closer. It just
Mike had the sequence before we finished recording. He already knew.
Really?
And it's the same list as it was in the studio.
Both of you as musicians, you have very kind of recognizable elements. What do you think it is that fans instantly know, that's Mike behind the kit, or that's Derek on the keys and stuff like that?
For myself, there's just nobody that plays as heavy as I do. And so that's what stands out. It's just not even close, the next person behind me, as far as that sound, as far as aggressiveness. I'm not saying technique, so I think I stand out in that way. Just audacity, sonic audacity.
I'll back him up on that. I mean, I've played with so many different keyboard players, and nobody plays heavy keyboards like Derek does. He plays the keyboards like a guitar player.
I had, Eddie Van Halen, Yngwie, Randy Rhoads, all these A-list killer guitar players that had signature sounds on their instruments. So I've always placed great importance to have something identifiable when I play. It's me, whether I'm playing with Dream Theater or Sons of Apollo or Billy Idol or whoever, Black Country Communion. There's always, my DNA is always going to be prevalent.
So what do you guys think in terms of the prog scene? Do you think that it's still kind of focused on this technicality aspect, or do you think it's kind of going back to a kind of simplistic sort of angle?
I keep my my finger on the pulse of the prog scene. I always have, even dating back to 25 years ago. Once I was coming up with Dream Theater, I always took advantage of the power I had to hand choose the opening bands, and I always took out bands like Fate's Warning, Boxbeard, Porcupine Tree, Pain of Salvation, Big Elf, Opeth. Those are all bands that I took out early in all these bands' careers. And nowadays, I think there's an amazing scene, and it ranges from super technical bands like Between the Buried and Me or Periphery or Animals as Leaders to the bands that are going more in the organic direction. I mean, it's such a broad scene. I mean, look at you. You have it on your arm. You have Steven Wilson and Gojira. That says it right there. The scene is so broad and diverse, and I think the progressive scene is bigger and better than ever.
If you had to have one track, you can kind of answer this kind of together or individually, that summed up the album, what do you think it would be?
For me, I think Labyrinth is it's got it. It's got it all.
Yeah.
I think God of the Sun is also another one that has it all, but that mainly came from you. Whereas I think Labyrinth is a good example of me, you, and Bumblefoot really collaborating and putting our heads together and each throwing things into the melting pot.
I agree with that.
So I think that song, to me, it's a 10-minute journey through everything that this band kind of has to offer.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, man. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.